All right, today we're going to talk about slope and rates of change. A synonym for slope is rates of change. It's rate of change. Okay, that's what we're talking about today. Slope. The definition for slope is the steepness of a line. And the letter that we use for slope is M. So in parentheses, I'm going to put M because this is the letter that we use to represent slope. And the definition for slope is the steepness or the incline of a line. The steepness of a line. The steepness of a line. The letter that we use for slope is M. The definition is the steepness, how steep that line is. Okay. There are 4 kinds or types of slope. There are 4 types of slope. Okay. There are 4 types of slope. I'm going to divide this into 4. Okay. The first kind of slope that we have is positive slope. This is where M is a positive number. So you have positive slope. That's when the incline of your line, I'll draw an example, drawing a coordinate plane. That's where the incline of your line is going up. So this is where the line goes up. I'm going to label this x-axis and y-axis. And this is where your line goes up. So from left to right, this is on the left side, your line starts down here. And as you move it towards the right, the line is going up. So for a positive slope, a description of this, as x increases, y increases. As x increases, y increases. And keep in mind, x is always going to increase because you're always going to read the x-axis from left to right. So x, when you read the x-axis, you always start from left to right. So x is always going to increase. It's y that's either going to increase or decrease. So positive slope is when your line is going up. So M is going to be a positive number. M is going to equal a positive number. Questions about positive slope. Lines go up. This is an example of what a positive slope of a line looks like when the line is going up. The second type of slope is a negative slope. It's a negative slope. And this is what it looks like. I'm going to draw again my x and my y-axis, label my x-axis, then label my y-axis. And negative slope is where as x increases, y decreases. So your line is going down. When you start from the left side, your line is up here and it's going down as your x increases. So here, as x increases, remember x always increases because you're going to read like you're reading a book. You read from left to right. So as x increases, y decreases. That gives us a line that goes down. So again, as x, put x in quotation, as x increases, X always increases. You read your x-axis from left to right. Y decreases. Your M, or your slope, is going to be a negative number. Since this line has a negative slope, the line is going down. Lines that go down have a negative slope. Lines that go up have a positive slope. So here your M is going to equal a negative number. The third type of slope is no slope. Okay? The third kind of slope is no slope or zero slope. Okay? These are slopes. These lines do not have any incline in it. They're flat lines. So an example of what that looks like, again, I'm going to draw a coordinate plane. I'm going to label my x-axis and my y-axis. And these lines are flat. These are horizontal flat lines. It has no incline to this line right here. There's no incline. Okay? Let me put so you can tell the difference. This is a flat line. It has zero or no slope. Okay? This is a flat line. Horizontal or flat line. No incline to it. M is equal to 0. This is where your M is equal to 0. And sometimes that looks like this. That looks like 0 over 5 or 0 over 1 or 0 over 100, all of which is equal to 0. All of these are equal to 0. 0 over any number is equal to 0. 0 over any number, whether it's positive or negative, is equal to 0. And I'll put a negative here if you want me to. 0 over any number is equal to 0. And pause for the cause. The fourth kind of slope is going to be undefined slope. Undefined slope looks like this. I'm going to draw coordinate plane. Again, I'm going to label my x-axis and my y-axis. An undefined slope looks like this, where you have a line that's straight up and down. It's a vertical line. It's a vertical line. M for vertical lines look like this. This is where you have any kind of number that's on top, but zeros on the bottom. Okay? This is undefined. You can't draw nothing and shade in 5. This is undefined. This is also undefined. Any number could be -1 on the top, 0 on the bottom. Anytime you have 0 on the bottom, it's undefined slope. 0 on the bottom of any fraction, 0 as a denominator. I can have 200 over 0. It's undefined. You can't draw nothing and shade in 200. These are all undefined. So undefined slope is when you have a vertical, straight up and down line. Vertical lines have undefined slope. Doesn't matter if it's on this side of the y-axis or the other side of the y-axis. Vertical lines have undefined slope. You can't logically, I couldn't walk up this line. I'd have to climb it. It has undefined slope there. I'm going to pause for the calls. Okay. All right, good people. These are my 4 different kinds of slope. To find or calculate slope, we use the slope formula. There are two formulas that you're going to use. Okay, so let's write slope. And remember, the letter that we use to represent slope is M. So we're doing slope formulas. All right, the first formula we use to find the slope of the line. Use to find slope of a line. And you probably remember this from last year. It's M, which represents slope, rise. That's your up or down, how far you go up or down to get to the next point. If you're going up, that's going to be a positive number. If you're going down, the top number is going to be a negative. So your rise is going to be how far you go up or down to get to the next point. And your run is left to right. If you are going to the left to get to the next point, your bottom number is a negative. If you're going to the right, your bottom number is a positive. And then when you use your formula, make sure that you reduce. Reduce or simplify your fractions. Okay. The second formula, let me put this in a bubble so you can see it. This is the formula. The second formula that you can use, okay, you use when you're given, use to find the slope given 2 points. So use, oops. I think I heard somebody say something, but I don't know. Can you repeat, baby? Oh, good. Yay. So let's write that down. What do you think it is, babe? Perfect. So M is equal to Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. And many of us should have gotten this last year. And when you substitute the points in, again, you reduce your fraction or simplify. Reduce or simplify. Okay. Let's make sure that we have that written. I'm going to pause for the calls. Oh, let me put this in a bubble so you know. Okay, good people. All right, so I'm going to stop. Well, actually, I'm going to show you one example on paper, and then we'll do the independent practice problems, okay? All right, so we are finding slope. I'm going to show you how to use both formulas. We're going to draw this picture as close as you can get it. We don't have grid lines, so please try to draw it as accurate as you can. I'm going to use my blue lines here on my y-axis, and I'm going to space it kind of in equal distance on my x-axis. Okay, let's see if I can find something to make it a little bit darker. Okay, label this as my x-axis, and I label this as my y-axis. Okay, I'm going to do my little grid lines. Okay, All right, so my first point on this line, I'm going to go 1, 2, 1, 2. So positive 2 and positive 2. It's my first ordered pair, 2, comma 2. And then my second ordered pair, I'm going to put positive 1 and negative 1. Okay. Positive 1 and negative 1. Draw my line. Okay. I need to find the slope of this line. I'm going to identify what kind of slope this is. As I read from left to right, my line starts down here and it goes up. So this is going to be a positive slope. Since it's a positive slope, my M is going to be a positive number. The first formula that I'm going to use for slope is going to be my y2 minus my y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay. Of course, I can use rise over run, but I do want to practice using this formula. Okay. So first thing I do is label my points. This is x coordinate, y coordinate, x coordinate, y coordinate. Since I have two x's and two y's, my first point is going to be x1, y1. That's my first point. My second point is going to be x2, y2. Any questions about how I label the 2 points? First point, x1, y1. Second point, x2, y2. And it's first because I wrote it first, and then I wrote this second. Okay? Doesn't matter which order you write it in. Now what I do is substitute these numbers into the formula. So this is what I have on top. My y2 is negative 1. So I'm going to put negative 1 here. Minus is a part of the formula. My y1 is right here. This is 2. So I put 2 here. My x2. x2 is 1. Minus is a part of the formula. x1 is 2. So now I simplify and reduce. Okay. So here this is going to be negative 1 minus 2. So this is plus a negative. So this is going to be negative 3 on the top. And then on the bottom, this is plus a negative. So this is going to be negative 1. When I simplify this more, a negative divided by a negative gives me a positive. 3 divided by 1 gives me a positive 3. So my slope here is a positive 3. M is equal to 3. Okay. I'm going to pause. We're going to use M is equal to rise over run. Okay. So here you're just going to go from one point to this next point here by using go rise first. So if I start at this point, how far do I have to go up to get to this next point? So I count, I go up 1 unit, 2, 3. So my top number is a positive 3 because I went up 3. Then I go from here to the right 1. So my bottom number is a positive 1. So my answer is 3 over 1, which is equal to 3. So either formula you use is going to give you the correct answer. Obviously, you can see if it's a line, it's easier to use this formula, rise over run. But they don't always give you a line. Sometimes they just give you the 2 points.